have two levels of karma. In other words, reactions to our actions. Those that are currently manifest and those which are sitting there waiting to manifest in the future. And so if we look at two people, one is apparently in a fortunate circumstance and one is in an unfortunate circumstance. We can't say that one person was a better person than the other, because for all we know, the future karma for each of them is going to look very different tomorrow.
Sure.
And the person
we've
that
seen
appears...
We've seen very fortunate people.
Yeah.
Boom, something tragic happens in a moment.
Sure, and it works the other way too. And
Sure.
and so
rags to
really,
riches.
yes. And so people that understand this law of karma, they always approach it. People that truly understand it, they always approach it, seeing it and applying it through compassion. So the idea being like, maybe this person's up and this person's down, but I don't judge any of them because I know we're all going up and down. We're all going up and down. We're all going up and down. So what I'm going to take from this understanding of karma is that I'm going to be careful, and I'm going to be careful to treat people well, to be sensitive, to be kind, to be generous, so that I know I won't bring some further suffering upon myself. And so that's where you were saying it can bring out the best in you.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Live from the beautiful Govardhan Eco Village in Maharashtra, India, this is Wisdom on the Sages, a Bhakti Yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center, New York City, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show. It's Monday, February 9th, 2026. It's episode 1731. Good morning, beautiful people. Here with Pran Priya and Katie. Katie Boltz is here. And having a great day at the Govardhan Eco Village. So weird to be here with all the students here. But doing a kirtan tonight. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. I'm here too, Raghunath.
How are you? How are you, Kaustubha?
I'm doing great.
What's going on over there? Where are you?
I'm in Mayapur.
You're still in Mayapur. Okay. When do you leave?
Yeah. I leave on Thursday morning. So I got 2 more full days here. Yeah.
Nice. When's the festival start there?
The festival, well, I mean, the official festival, I don't know, maybe in a week or something like that.
All right. Nice.
You're talking about the Mayapur festival? Or you're talking about Rishikesh?
No, I'm talking about the Rishikesh festival.
Oh, the Rishikesh festival starts on the 13th. So that starts on Friday, I guess it is.
Ah, perfect.
So I'll be there for it.
And you're going to be there. You're going to be doing Q&A in the morning.
Class every morning. No, class every morning. Q&A every evening.
Q&A every evening. Nice. All right. Well, I'll see you. I get there on the 1st, 2nd,
okay.
And the third is Lord Chaitanya's appearance. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Looking forward to it. Yeah.
Great.
So we're going to be worshiping Lord Chaitanya together.
How long will you stay?
1st, 2nd, and 3rd. I leave the 4th for Vrindavan.
Okay. Oh, I'm happy you're coming.
Yeah, 3 nights.
Prana Priya as well.
Yeah.
We'll celebrate the advent of Sri Chaitanya together in Rishikesh.
On the Ganges. I'm looking forward to it.
Bathe in the Ganga together. Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah. Do some kirtan.
Yeah.
Prasad.
What's going on? You can, little loving announcements? Anything happening?
No, not much is happening
Not
these
much.
days.
How's the writing going? Are you guys getting stuff done?
He's doing great.
Nailing it.
He's doing great.
I'm nailing it. I don't move. I live in my cottage, and I go out for 45 minutes or an hour at most for lunch. Back to the cottage. All right.
Nice.
And you've been inspired.
And I'm really, really inspired. So it's good. But I did get asked by 2 groups to do a kirtan tonight, so it's sort of good to break up creative
at the end of the day,
portions of
that's
the brain.
Great. Yeah,
And that's great. Yeah, and then I'll do one for Jiva Mukti's people in a few days too.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So
Pranapriya,
it's really
we've been
nice.
talking about a cookbook for some time. Oh, is this
We
your
have
time
been
to get
talking
into
about
that?
it.
I know. I'm
Still
trying to give her
talking.
a little pinch and a poke.
Yeah, but
No?
that's okay.
Okay,
That's
I can
okay.
pinch and poke you.
I wasn't asking you to do things. It's in the works. It's in the works. I have an outline. I just,
Okay.
yeah, I gotta
But
get.
you're just
get
you're
back
just
fired
resting
up
a
on it.
bit. Are you
I have
resting
been
a bit
resting
there?
a bit.
You know what we're
Yes.
doing? We're
Maybe
hanging
some
out with some really.
treatments.
I did get a massage yesterday.
Nice.
Maybe the only one I get.
It's not her bag. She's not like one of these spa ladies.
You don't like to lie down and have that oil drip on your forehead.
I got slathered up with oil, and it's like, it's already like 98 degrees here every day, and it's just like you're all
You
oiled
feel like a
up, and
pakora.
yeah, and I'm just like slathered. Yeah, I do feel like a little like a pakora.
And I got 2 certificates for a massage, but I'm just too inspired to write to leave my little hermitage.
It might be good for you at
Look
some
at
point
you
when you gotta
guys.
take a break.
Maybe right when
Yeah.
you leave, just before you leave, you do that.
That'd be nice.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
You know what we are doing, though, which is really nice, is we are sitting with the Prabhupada disciples. There's about 4 Prabhupada disciples here, and
Who's
we're
there?
just picking their brain.
I did actually
Okay.
just read one of them.
Yeah.
Okay, one of them is Bali Mardan is here,
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
and so we had a couple meals with him.
No, we're eating with him every day, practically, and there's so many good stories this man
And
has.
he gifted us his little book that he wrote of his time with Prabhupada.
In Southeast Asia.
Journey to the Pacific Rim, I think it's called.
Yes.
You know-
And, it's a small book, so I read the entire thing in about 24 hours. It was great.
These people, like Prabhupada met them when they were 18, like in 1968. He was an NYU student. And Prabhupada just said, okay, having a good life, go to Japan and spread the holy name. And they're like, okay. And then after Japan, Australia he goes to Singapore. It's just like unbelievable what these young people did, just completely focused on their guru's mission. Yeah, super, super interesting. Then this mother, Mahamaya, she also wrote a book. I haven't read her book though, but
She's very
super interesting lady too. I said, "How'd you get into bhakti?" She said, "Well, when I was 21 or 24, I can't remember what she said. My friend dropped me off at the temple and never picked me up, and it was
Just went with it.
And I just went with it." But it was like it's one fascinating story after another. It's really, really cool. And these people that met Prabhupada, they're not ordinary people. And they've done so much service, been around so much, and you can see how Krishna is just like herding them closer and closer to his lotus feet as they get older and older.
Very nice.
I'm like very inspired. Every day we just sit there and we pick brains. And of course, Yadavar's there, and he's like the gold standard of great Prabhupada stories because he got so much time traveling with Prabhupada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
So
who's
we're
the
having
fourth?
joyful,
That's 1, 2,
having joyful lunches. We're eating simply, and yeah,
Okay.
and we're a little isolated in a wonderful way.
Good. Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
Announcements. Something about the times for this week or something.
Yeah, we'll have the show again Tuesday and Wednesday, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay.
All
We're
right.
also about to post our Wisdom of the Sages retreats that'll be happening at Super Soul Farm in the spring and the fall.
Yeah. Memorial Day weekend. Harry Bull, looking forward to it.
All right.
All right, let's dive into our nugget of the day.
Who's the nugget from?
Keanu Reeves.
What?
Keanu
He's wise.
Reeves.
He's wise,
I-
and he's a
no.
hunk.
He seems like he's quite a nice guy.
Yeah, he has that charm.
He does. Okay, so Keanu Reeves, you truly understand karma, then you realize you are responsible for everything in your life.
Hold it. Could you read that again, please?
Yeah. When you truly understand karma, then you realize you are responsible for everything in your life.
I think this is right up your alley, Raghunath. This.
Yeah, like when a person gets the idea of karma and how it works, it's like the knowledge is handing you the steering wheel back, right? Because you understand that your responses matter, like your intentions matter, your actions matter right now. And that's incredibly empowering instead of asking, well, why? Why me? It's not fair, right? You start asking, What am I being invited to learn from here? How am I evolving? How do I move forward with more awareness? It's a whole different mindset, and the same thing's happening. So you're plugging into the idea that this law of cause and effect is actually working through our choices and changes how I walk through the world, right? And there's a benevolent force, and it's lifting me up. It's not a bad thing. It's all, right? Like prison isn't a bad thing. Prison's a way to learn lessons. If I don't learn those lessons, I find myself in prison. Huh?
I'm saying, Pranapriya, note that down. Prison isn't a bad thing.
Prison is not a bad thing. Write that down. Prison's good.
Raghunath.
Yeah. I mean, if the prison system is working correctly and our law system is working correctly, then prison is a chance for to rectify. It's not a place to... yeah. You can look at it as like, there's a place of punishment. This is unfair. No, it's a place of rectifying.
Okay.
It's like a parent sends you to your room when you're a kid. It's not supposed to just to grind your face in the dirt. It's so, okay, I can't do that. I'm gotta make better choices. You know, and something else I just want to share happens is like when you stop seeing yourself as a victim of everything, right? You also stop seeing everyone else as the enemy, the perpetrator, right? The jury, the judge, the warden. You become more sensitive. You could become more thoughtful. You realize everyone's dealing with the results of something, just like you are. It's very freeing, actually. As a parent, this concept is very freeing because we feel like we are 100% responsible for how my kid turns out. And I think most parents get to this point where, like, I don't know if I have anything to do with it. I have something to do with it, but I don't have complete control of this. Right. And when I think I can do, if there's an up or a down, I can either get really proud, look what I've done, my son is the, or I can get like so down on myself, I'm responsible, but and I'm not helpless. I'm not just a victim of circumstances or bad luck. I can pay closer attention to my tone, my reactions, my motives, etc., and I become more careful because I see much more weight even in the little choices I carry, right? So I feel like really understanding karma doesn't make you harsh or judgmental or hard-hearted. I think it can soften you, and it brings out a good in you. You become compassionate because you're aware that what you put into the world is going to come back. Not just you, but through you. Huh?
I like what you've shared, Raghunath. I like what you've shared. And we've discussed this a bit on the show in the past, but I think it's worth repeating. That I think when you and I first got into this, like say back in the 80s and in the 90s, when you talk about karma, I didn't feel like there was much objection to it. It was kind of like, yeah, well, that's a nice idea that, if you put bad out there, it comes back at you. But if you put good out there, that comes back to you too. It's kind of like maybe people didn't necessarily believe it, but they didn't get triggered in any way by it.
Yeah, good point.
And nowadays, it seems like a much higher percentage of people are quickly triggered by the idea. Hold it, you're blaming the victim. Let's see how this plays out socially. It seems like you're saying that if someone's in an unfortunate position in life, well, it's their fault. And what that does is it means that you never really get to the root of the problem and, address whatever injustices have or whatever powers have inflicted this suffering on someone. And we like to share this one point because people speak of karma. Most people don't dig too deep into it or really study, in depth what these sacred texts say about karma. But there's one thing that I think is always worth sharing, and that is this idea that we have two levels of karma. In other words, reactions to our actions. Those that are currently manifest and those which are sitting there waiting to manifest in the future. And so if we look at two people, one is apparently in a fortunate circumstance and one is in an unfortunate circumstance. We can't say that one person was a better person than the other, because for all we know, the future karma for each of them is going to look very different tomorrow.
Sure.
And the person
we've
that
seen that.
appears,
We've seen very fortunate people.
yeah,
Boom, something tragic happens in a moment.
sure, and it works the other way too. And
Sure.
and so
Rags to
really,
riches.
yes, and so people that understand this law of karma, they always approach it. People that truly understand it, they always approach it, seeing it and applying it through compassion. So the idea being like, maybe this person's up and this person's down, but I don't judge any of them because I know we're all going up and down. We're all going up and down. We're all going up and down. So what I'm going to take from this understanding of karma is that I'm going to be careful, and I'm going to be careful to treat people well, to be sensitive, to be kind, to be generous, so that I know I won't bring some further suffering upon myself. And so that's where you were saying it can bring out the best in you. It really can do that. And so Keanu Reeves, he's saying when you understand karma, you realize you're responsible for everything in your life. That's the idea. It's meant to help you grow up. It's meant to help you say, you know what? I was moving through this world as if I wasn't responsible for things. But now I'm kind of getting it. It's becoming clear to me that whatever comes my way, I've put it out there in the world and it's coming back at me. Let me be more aware of how my actions affect others, and let me choose to respond in this world in a more sensitive or more appropriate way. And that's what yogis also understand. I mean, yogis, they're finding the way to move in this world where there's no karma because they have this completely selfless attitude. That's a whole science, of karma yoga. I can move through this world doing actions, getting no reactions because I have no attachment to the results, that most people are striving to try to take for themselves. But it's really, of course, it's a very ancient teaching, but it's a very deep teaching, and in some senses it's simple, but in other sense, as you were saying, it's like it. You said it's like getting the steering wheel back. It is like when your faith in it becomes strong, you feel like you're living a whole new life. You feel like you're not just the victim, you're not just a pawn, but that you really have agency and how you use it. You become more real conscious of how you use your agency.
Yeah. I think because we are embodied, and I'm looking at this Ray Capo Raghunath body,
Yes.
male, New Yorker body,
Okay.
as me, there's like frustration with loss of the body. But if you could just step back and see the soul is eternal and we're just changing bodies, and even in a tragic lifetime, suppose my entire lifetime's tragic, if you really were to zoom out and see all the thousands of bodies my spirit is taking, then this very tragic, perhaps I was born into tragedy and I die in tragedy. It's still really, in the bigger picture of things, it's like stepping on a sharp pebble. I don't want to minimize people's pain, but I'm just trying to say there is a maha zoom out that when you actually look at how reality is described in the Vedas, it's meant to actually reduce our suffering, because we see our lifetime, even a lifetime's of pain, as truthfully, this is momentary. In the same sense, like if I step on a sharp stone, I'm just like, ah! And in that moment, I am furious. I'm upset. I was like, who didn't sweep in the kitchen? Did someone have a piece of broken glass here? And that's drawn out through an entire lifetime. But in the biggest picture of things, it is like that moment.
Hmm.
Oh,
Thank you, Raghunath.
yeah, I'm just feeling like because we see ourselves as a body, then there's not just the fear that goes with losing the body, but we stop seeing ourselves as an eternal being in eternal time. We see ourselves as a beginning, middle, and end, and it's just not like that. Not according to yoga. All right, I want to hear what the say as we enter into the story of. What's the story today? Will we pass?
Swallowing the forest fire.
Swallowing forest fires.
Just one.
Narayanam namaskutya naram chaivatam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jamudirayat Before reciting the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan. And to Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, and to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to my heart will become eradicated. And loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Agyana Timarandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmadamina Tasmai Maha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet.
Raghunath, just
All
a
right,
second. We're getting some heavy lag and stuff, but could we ask people to turn off their cameras one more time?
Sorry, people. We love your beautiful faces, but we don't love them that much.
I think this may be one of the shortest chapters in the entire Bhagavatam, Raghunath. It's only 16 verses.
All right.
You ready?
Ready? So this is the swallowing of the forest fire. Text 1.
Oh, hey, I
Sukadeva
gotta tell
Swami
you
said,
something,
while
Raghunath. I'm sorry, it's just so much on my mind. It's going to blow your mind.
Squirrel me this. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a squirrel. It's a squirrel. Guess who's coming
okay.
to Mayapur? And arriving any minute now. You'll never guess.
Is it like a Hare Krishna person or a non-Hare Krishna person?
Well, he could fit into either category. He's definitely a Vaishnava
Prime Minister
person.
Modi.
No. Someone that you
Yogi
know
Adityanath.
personally.
Someone I know personally.
Yeah.
Not a Hare Krishna. Okay, now I'm like.
Ask me questions. I'll tell you.
Is he
if you're getting
famous?
warmer.
Is he famous? Is he famous? Is he famous?
Not in popular culture. No.
Okay. Is he sports?
No. Colder. Oh, now he froze up. It's making it cold. Raghunath just froze up. All right. We'll have to wait for Raghunath
I
to
lost
get
you.
back.
Sorry.
Yeah. I'll just tell you.
All right, tell me.
Mohan Panda.
Oh, very interesting. What's he doing?
Yeah.
He's
never left Brudge before.
What's he doing?
He's coming to Mayapur. I don't know what he's doing, but we're gonna go see him. Hopefully this evening.
Take care of
we'll
him.
See him. Yeah, that's amazing, right?
Very interesting. Yeah.
I
mean, some people. I mean, I remember seeing Mohan Panda at our program with Satchidananda Swami, and I was like, "What are you doing outside of Radhakund?" Even though it's like right down the road. He's a person who never leaves Radhakund since birth.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll be very interested to see him.
Who's he visiting? Who's he visiting?
He's coming. He's staying here. I don't know in particular. I think Lord Chaitanya is who he's visiting.
He's visiting Lord Chaitanya. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's dive into this.
Okay. Ready? Yeah.
Sukadeva Goswami said, while the cowherd boys were completely absorbed playing, their cows were far away. They hungered for more grass, and with no one to watch them, they entered the dense forest.
Okay.
Passing from one part of the great forest to another, the goats, cows, and buffalo eventually entered an area overgrown with sharp canes. The heat of a nearby forest fire made them thirsty, and they cried out in distress. Not seeing the cows before them, Krishna, Rama, and their cowherd friends suddenly felt repentant for having neglected them. The boys searched all around but could not discover where they had gone. Then the boys began tracing out the cow's path.
I was just saying here, we're getting this kind of repetitive kind of theme here, right? It's like things are going well, and then all of a sudden things are not going so well, and there's some danger.
Yeah. When the boy began tracing out the cow's path by noticing their hoof prints and the blades of grass the cows had broken with their hooves and teeth. All the cowherd boys were in great anxiety because they had lost their source of livelihood. Within the Munga forest, the cowherd boys finally found their valuable cows, who had lost their way and were crying. Then the boys, thirsty and tired, herded the cows onto the path back home. The Supreme Personality of Godhead called out to his animals in a voice that resounded like a rumbling cloud. Hearing the sound of their own names, the cows were overjoyed and called out to the Lord in reply. Suddenly, a great force...
This is the second time we're hearing about the great joy. Before we heard that they were enjoying the highest happiness. And now again, they're experiencing great joy in this cow form, right? They're experiencing some kind of, not just the material happiness, but they're experiencing some kind of divine love, some kind of the bliss of divine love that even the cows are feeling in this realm.
Suddenly, a great forest fire appeared on all sides, threatening to destroy the forest creatures. Like a chariot driver, the wind swept the fire onward, and terrible sparks shot in all directions. Indeed, the great fire extended its tongues of flame toward all moving and non-moving creatures. As the cows and the cowherd boys stared at the forest fire attacking them on all sides, they became fearful. The boys then approached Krishna and Balaram for shelter, just as those who are disturbed by the fear of death approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The boys addressed us.
So I think
Krishna, Krishna. Yeah.
It's hard with his lag, huh? Sorry. But
I'm not noticing it, but you are.
Yeah. It's this is a very short and simple chapter. We're halfway through it already. And the story is pretty much as simple as the boys lost the cows, the boys found the cows, and then they all got threatened by a fire. And in that moment, I suppose it's part of this is examining the hearts of the residents of Vrindavan. That this Vedic text, if we zoom out a bit and say, in a sense, this sounds like a children's story, but really we know that we've been working our way through the most sophisticated philosophical poetry of all of the great Vedic texts, the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. And it's
wrapped
been leading
in a child's
us,
story.
Yeah. It's been leading us right to this apparent child story, but really what it is, it's an examination of, you could say it's an examination of God, and it is that, but it's not only that, because it's demonstrating something that we need to hear, we need to understand, we might need to get over our hang-ups, our triggers, our fears, and that is that God has no interest in being known, being even elevated above, being separated from those that love him. So his existence is not only with those that love him, but living in a sense as an equal with those that love him. And so it's not just a story of examining God, but it's a story of examining God's devotees. And what we see here is in their minds and hearts, they're not, and this is a message to us, right? We search for shelter in different places. We search for shelter, like one way we do it is, I need money to purchase the kind of security that I need in life. And that may come through health insurance, that may come through, the right house and the right security system in the house. It might come, from, I depend on my police department or my nation's army and
credit
so on.
cards, extending my
Yes.
credit.
Yeah, whatever it may be. Yeah, different types of insurance and so on. And it's not that this is saying it's wrong to be concerned in those ways, but the realized soul, the soul that's really understanding truth, realizes that all of these shelters are faulty, and in the end there's only one shelter, and that shelter is actually infallible. So we have the residents in Vrindavan living in bliss, experiencing joy in ways that we can't imagine. but the external circumstances there are shifting and changing and apparently becoming dangerous at different times. But they always say, we saw this when they went into the mouth of this massive snake, right? It was like, is this for real, the snake, or is it not? Is it safe to go inside? Well, anyway, what do we have to worry about? We know Krishna is always there. And that may sound like a story, a child's story, but we've been hearing so much philosophy to help us understand that we can actually live life that way, in a sense, that we can have no shelter but Krishna, truly. Or the temporary shelters, we understand them as ultimately not being shelters in the end. And we have this idea, this is what surrender means, is that I know ultimately there's one shelter and I'm fully invested in that shelter. So when these boys find themselves in this difficulty, their immediate, spontaneous reaction is just to turn to Krishna, because Krishna is the one that's always on their mind. That root of all existence. As yogis, their minds are always focused there. They're never separated from that. They're never disconnected from that. And so it's kind of, in what sounds like a child's story, it's kind of illustrating that again and again in different ways.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, continuing on. As the cows and the cowherd boys stared at the forest fire attacking them on all sides, they became fearful. The boys then approached Krishna and Balaram for shelter, just as those who are disturbed by the fear of death approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The boys addressed them as follows. O Krishna, Krishna, most powerful one, O Rama, you whose prowess never fails, please save your devotees who are about to be burned by this forest fire and have come to take shelter of you.
So that's Krishna significant right there, that they address him as you whose prowess never fails. That's in contrast to all of the, if we read this as philosophers, then we can recognize that's in contrast to all the shelters that we approach in this world.
Sure.
That not only are prone to failure, but that in the end, ultimately, they all fail.
Sure. Even the most solid things, they fail. The material world is a bad investment. It's all a sandcastle, And if I was going to sell you or Pranapuri a sail, I got this really nice, beachfront sandcastle. You're going to love it. It doesn't, no matter how nice that sandcastle is, and even sometimes solid, eventually a wave's going to come in. And so everything in this world is a poor investment, except our spiritual life. It's a good temporary investment, I get it. But if that's my solo shelter, this is what this little fantasy Grimm's Brothers tale or whatever it appears that we're reading is actually goading us towards, that actually there is one shelter. You got a whole 12-step program around the world going towards this exact same point. There's one shelter. You think you can manage your life. Look where it got you. Surrender to God, surrender your ego, and trust you don't control. You have very minimal control. What you can control is your senses, and you can direct what you're going to take shelter of in times of great distress. So here they are.
Yes.
In these divine beings in great distress. What could be more distressful than a forest fire? All right, the boys replied. I'm sorry. Hearing these pitiful words from his friends. Oh, I'm sorry. Krishna, certainly your own friends shouldn't be destroyed. O knower of the nature of all things, we have accepted you as our Lord, and we are souls surrendered unto you. Hearing these pitiful words from his friends, the Supreme Lord Krishna told them, just close your eyes and do not be afraid. All right, the boys replied, and immediately closed their eyes. Then the Supreme Lord, the master of all mystic power, opened his mouth and swallowed the terrible fire, saving his friends from danger. The coward boys opened their eyes and were amazed to find out not only had all the cows had been saved from the terrible fire, but they had all been brought back to the Bandira tree. When the coward boys saw what they had been saved from, when the coward boys saw that they had been saved from the forest fire by the Lord's mystic power, which is manifested by his internal potency, they began to think Krishna must be some type of demigod.
And a demigod. Do you want to read the commentary to this one?
Yeah, text 14, commentary. The cowherd boys of Vrindavan simply love Krishna as their own friend, an exclusive object of devotion. To increase their ecstasy, Krishna displayed to them his mystic potency and saved them from a terrible forest fire. The cowherd boys could never give up their ecstatic, loving friendship with Krishna. Therefore, rather than considering Krishna to be God, after they saw his extraordinary power, they thought that perhaps he was a demigod. But since Lord Krishna was their beloved friend, they were on the same level with him, and thus they thought that they must be demigods. In this way, Krishna's cowherd friends became overwhelmed with ecstasy.
Okay.
15. It was now late in the afternoon. Lord Krishna, accompanied by Balaram, turned the cows back towards home. Playing his flute in a special way, Krishna returned to the cowherd village in the company of his cowherd friends who chanted his glories. So funny because traveling in India today, it's so, if you're taking like public transportation anywhere, trains or buses, is the same thing is happening. You get a bunch of like old ladies just sitting in the back, just singing these songs, chanting Krishna's glories, just like the cowherd boys are doing. That stuff is still going on a regular basis. If you and me were to sit down in the street and start singing, a few old ladies would join us and start singing with us as well. It's so woven into the culture. Matter of fact, this whole thing about this, what do they call it again? Bhajan clubbing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, these Indians are going to nightclubs and they're having sort of like nightclub bhajans, and everyone sings
Is it really
together.
in nightclubs, or is it just like concerts?
Truthfully, I've never. They call it nightclub.
Clubbing, yeah.
I don't
Maybe, I don't know. Okay,
Bhajan
whatever,
clubbing. You're like a club, but they don't serve, and you know, it's just good, clean fun.
Yeah. There you go.
And it's interesting because even Indians who are like more Western now. India's very Western now. But even the West is saying, you know, who needs alcohol? Alcohol industry is dying. You know, it's really been hit hard because of people know too much. When you know too much, it's hard to act against truth. You really got to stick your head in the sand and just be a bold-faced liar and have to tell yourself lies on a regular basis. So whether they're hearing it from their grandparents or they're hearing it from, you know, the cutting edge of health authorities in the United States, it's changing the way the new generation is behaving. Very interested to see where culture, both in the West and in India, is going to be in 10 years. I'm very, very interested, especially since in the information age, things rapidly change.
They do. Okay.
Text 15.
One last
It was
verse.
now late.
Oh, two. Oh, no, you're just saying that. You just read that one. So there's only one verse left.
Yeah, I'm sorry, text 16, last verse. The young cowherd girls took the greatest pleasure in seeing Govinda Krishna come home, since for them, even a moment without his association seemed like 100 ages. Now, this is something interesting because we saw a lot of the pilgrims who came to Mayapur, a lot of the yogis who did the teacher training or those who did the wisdom training. I'm getting so many messages from them. Sarah Ditto's on the show right now. Natalie's on the show right now. Jessica's on the show right now. But there's like a deep longing in the heart. There's such a deep longing. Re-entry is real. It's hard. It's difficult. Because when you get that high taste and it gets taken away, you're just like, where did you go, Krishna? Where did the devotees go? Where did the deities go? Where did the flower garlands go? Where did the prasad go? Where did the sweet exchanges go? Where did the kirtan go? And it's like Krishna has disappeared. And by the way, for anybody experiencing that right now, listeners, you should understand that that's also being Krishna conscious, longing for Krishna, remembering Krishna, trying to, pine your way through your life, trying to figure out how can I get Krishna back in my life and waking early and watching the podcast, etc. This is all highly Krishna conscious. And get ready for this dance that Krishna does with you. He embraces you. He gives you sweet realizations. He makes you so joyful you can't explain it, a different type of joy than you've ever had before. And then right when you're ready, right when you think you got Krishna, he disappears. He sneaks away, and you're like, where did you go? And not meant to disturb you, it's meant to push you more and more deeper. Go to higher levels of your bhakti in this life. And what's happening is sweet baby Krishna is luring you right out of the material world. He's luring you to go farther, go deeper. Don't stay there. You want Krishna, you're going to have to go deeper to find him. You're going to have to go higher to find him. You're going to have to get more authentic, more genuine, more real, and you'll find Krishna again. You'll dance with Krishna again. So here is these young gopis took great pleasure in seeing Govinda, since for them even a moment without his association seemed like, 100 ages. So poignant, huh?
Raghunath, what you're saying, I've been examining something coming out of that Oxford Center for Hindu Studies retreat that I did in Vrindavan. It's led me to think a lot about what's unique, because again, I won't go into the whole thing again, but we did look at 4 different, not just bhakti lineages, but 4 different lineages that had caught on to something that was never really revealed so much prior to that, which was this unique bhakti, this unique love of the residents of Vrindavan, which is an intimate love with God, not a reverential love with God. And that out of those 4, what is unique about Sri Chaitanya's lineage? And one of the things that's unique is that it became determined to share this with everyone. That Sri Chaitanya, feeling this great ecstasy, became determined to share it with everyone. That's the unique thing. We didn't see that in the others. I'm not saying this to say one is better or anything like that. I'm just trying to understand Sri Chaitanya and who he is. But another thing is that Sri Chaitanya's, the way that he demonstrated practicing bhakti and experiencing bhakti was through this very mysterious and deep feeling of separation that externally looks like, oh, that's not what we want. We don't want to be separated from the one that we love. But internally has a whole different spiritually, incredibly spiritually rich idea that within that separation, because the intensity of one's meditation increases in separation, that the bliss is actually still deeper. And Sri Chaitanya taught not just to achieve a deeper bliss, but also that there's something in that longing for God that makes it a very suitable path for people that are unqualified to enter into that very intimate type of love. In other words, rather than assuming I've got God as my own, I'm feeling I don't. And there's something about that that's very suitable. So that what you're saying, I think even there's a principle in what you're saying that's like consistent with that, is like we've got in our kind of global podcast community, we have a lot of people that either tune into the show every day, or that we know that don't tune in live, but that we know of them. And many of these people live in distant places where they don't really have friends that live nearby that are practicing bhakti. So not only are they longing for Krishna, but they're longing for the Sangha, they're longing for the association of other devotees. And there's something in that feeling of longing that is very powerful and purifying and effective and transformational. And I think you're right. I think we're seeing people that are living in Lubbock, Texas, or Venezuela, or Alaska, or all these different places where they're really, in many ways, isolated. They're really advancing in bhakti. There's something to it.
Yeah.
And
all right.
I was just going to share just one last thing. Is here
Sure.
again, we have not heard much about the gopis up until this point. We've heard about the elderly gopis when Krishna was a little boy and he was running around. But we haven't really seen the gopis come out, and we haven't heard about their love.
Right.
We're getting
Take the
real
center
close.
stage.
Yeah, I think that this was just mentioned right here at the very end of this chapter. We kind of shifted at a certain point, like chapter 13, we got into the cowherd boys. Up into that, it was like the love of Krishna's parents, right? That parental love coming from Krishna's parents and the elderly people in the village. And then it shifted to the cowherd friends. And we've been, when we started to hear about Brahma Vimohan Leela, we've been hearing a lot about Krishna and the love of friendship that he shares with his cowherd boyfriends. Now he's getting just a little bit older still, and we're beginning to hear more hints about this romantic love. So here it says the young gopis took the greatest pleasure. Again, we're hearing, these aren't, when we hear it say the greatest pleasure, it's param ananda. It's saying that's not just like some colloquial way of saying, oh, they're really happy. It was the greatest pleasure to see you today. They weren't saying, this isn't being mentioned casually that way. This is saying param ananda, the ananda of the soul is one thing. This is param ananda. This is an unparalleled type of bliss that they're experiencing. These girls are feeling that. They feel the greatest pleasure in seeing. That means greater than the pleasure of moksha, right? Greater than the bliss, the normal bliss of the self that can be obtained through moksha. These gopis, they took the greatest pleasure, the Paramananda, in seeing Govinda come home, since for them even a moment without his association seemed like 100 ages. This is the pinnacle of spiritual awareness, spiritual emotion, and we're getting hints of it now that we're getting to this most special part. I think it's just, let's see, in a couple chapters. Let me pull this out. This is Kalia, Balaram swallowing the forest fire. Okay. Oh, the next one is the rainy season. Oh, what a great chapter that'll be to read. And then the gopis glorify the song of Krishna's flute. Krishna steals the garments of the unmarried gopis. So now we're getting into really hearing about that. Yeah, it's good.
I'm going to tell that story tonight.
Which one?
All right, let's get on with our takeaways and any announcements for the one more time. Announcements for the show is tomorrow and the next day.
Tomorrow and the next day at 6:30 a.m.
Okay.
Eastern Time.
Right,
6:30
great.
to 7:30.
Yeah, I noticed we got a lot of people coming in midway through the show today live.
Yeah.
So please
so
take
now
notes.
we'll know. We tell them.
It is a funny time. We don't usually start on the half hour Eastern
Yeah.
Time.
Yes.
You know what we should do then? Kaustubha can't do Wednesday. I will do. Maybe I'll invite Bali Mardan and Mahamaya
Oh,
to
that would be
speak,
super
Now we're
cool.
talking.
because these guys got stories.
Oh,
You
there's
know.
so many good stories.
Some of these Prabhupada disciples are not ordinary.
Just try to get
Okay.
good connection when you got them. Do the best you can
Sure.
with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
Pranapriya, take it away.
Prison's not a bad thing. It's a place
Prison-
for reform and
not a bad thing.
rectification.
Prison's good. Sometimes prison's good. Raghunath.
Okay.
If we understand karma, we see we aren't helpless victims.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
Keanu Reeves. He's called him Keanu Reeves
Ooh.
because he's very much like a Gyani.
What you put into the world comes back at you.
Right back at you.
Yep.
See karma through a lens of kindness for others.
Compassion for others. Okay.
Yeah, not like instant karma. Not like that.
That's your karma.
Yeah, that's your karma. Deal with it, dude.
Just search
No.
for shelter in Krishna. Everything else is temporary and fallible.
I need your shelter. I've had
Heard
enough.
that before.
Shelter.
Yeah, I know.
Well, all tied up and my eyes are shut, and the trains I've made, they're tough to cut. By me, I need someone who's free from birth and death and misery, inattentive and sensitive for what others have found, letting false ego drag me around. I'm confessing, I'm missing all I could learn. I need your shelter. Boom. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the bard of his generation.
That's part of his generation.
The material world is a bad investment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sweet baby Krishna is luring us out of this material world.
Yeah. Come on.
And
Take me home, sweet baby Krishna.
what do we have to worry about when we know Krishna's always there?
It's really true. All right, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I see Justine Stromboli's here. Harry Bo. Missing you, Justine. You know, me and Pranapriya, we just took off from that last trip, Justine. Came back to America, went right to Japan. I didn't even have time to process pilgrimage. Pilgrimage was so powerful.
It was great.
It was so powerful. So it was great having you. And Saraswati Ji, good morning again.
I think we're about to open registration for the Badrinath.
Badrinath is happening later this week. We're going to open registration.